Alright YouTube, I want to do in this video honest review about Microsoft Surface Book 2 as a photographer. I've been using this computer for about 6 months and I want to cover in this review everything I love about this computer and some stuff I don't like about this Surface Book 2. I'm not going to go too much into specs necessarily, but rather what about the usability of this actual concept and what's really going on with this whole computer. First of all, the design is very nice. The build quality of this computer is absolutely flawless. The hinges, the machine crafting is pretty much same like you would expect from MacBook Pro and other Apple devices. So Microsoft really stepped in the game. Now, the computer that I also have the pen. And I'm gonna get to this thing in a second. First I want to cover the actual usability of the computer. Let's talk about keyboard. Typing on this computer is very nice. I think out of all computers I've ever had and tried, and by the way, I'm a dual user. I have Apple and the PC. I think out of all computers, the keyboard on the Surface computers is absolutely the best. One thing I'm not so much fan of is their trackpad. If you're looking mainly, if you're using the trackpad as your main thing, Apple is the king. There's absolutely nobody come close. However, the Surface trackpad is very usable and very nice, but it's limited and really not the same as you would expect from the Apple. This computer have face recognition camera, which, like in this particular case, when I open computer and it can recognize me, works 50-50. I really like to have this. I really like the idea that it's there. However, you know, you put a hat on, you grow a little bit of mustache or beard, forget about it. This thing doesn't recognize you anymore. That's a little bit of annoying. I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed about it, but whatever. The computer that I have here is the basic model. It's 8 gigabytes, 256 gigabyte of SSD storage. And the reason why I bought this one in particular versus the one with the built-in graphic card, and like I said, I'm not gonna get too much into specs, is the fact that I bought this strictly to be my on-location computer. I wasn't planning to do any kind of retouching for a client on this. I wasn't planning to do anything, any kind of, you know, really job-related, strictly job-related things. Basically what I need this for, when I shoot on location, take a look what I got. Performance is great though on this basic model, which was like $1,500, something like that. Overpriced, definitely. If you're looking to save a few dollars, I highly recommend sticking with Apple. But if you're a PC fan, this is definitely worth it. Now, let's talk about the actual usability of this computer. As a photographer, let's say you're buying this computer to do a lot of retouching and those sort of things. And basically, here goes the magic pen. Let me log in really quick because it doesn't recognize my face, which is a big no-no. This pen is, you know, relatively accurate, but the latency and a slight delay when you do something is really kind of a game killer for me to use it as my main retouching platform. I don't know if this something have to do with the firmware, but definitely the latest firmware they released, which was I think like 3 months ago, made computers slower and the pen became way less accurate than it was before. Functionality. As you know, if you hold this little button, I don't know if you guys seen other videos or not, this thing detaches and it becomes like a tablet, which essentially is very cool function to have if you want to pass it to your clients. You know, if you want to use it, watch a movie at night or whatnot. So, relatively, it's pretty good. However, again, I want to complain a little bit. The actual touch on this display is not even close as accurate as you would expect from the Apple product. And I'm going to be a little bit snobby and I'm going to compare it to the iPhone. iPhone is flawless. Whatever you touch, works. Here, for example, keyboard, I mean, it works okay. I mean, it touches, but it's not that accurate. And to be honest, typing on this thing is a little bit pain in the ass, so keep that in mind. However, you already know my reasons why I bought it, so I can't really complain about it. The quality of the screen. Screen is very beautiful quality. I believe it's like 3000 pixels, whatever. Take a look at the specs. It's on their website. I'm not going to go pinpoint details about it. So, screen is very beautiful, very nice quality. One thing though to keep in mind, you cannot calibrate this screen. There is no RGB control to do any kind of calibration. You can use Windows built-in to kind of calibrate. However, I try to calibrate on my professional iDisplay Pro calibrator, and basically, I don't know if it's all models or mine in particular, my model is way warmer from the white balance what it's supposed to be. So if we're looking at white, let's say, sheet of paper, on this computer it's going to be slightly yellow. If you're a photographer, again, and if you're buying this thing strictly to do any kind of retouching work and you want all your colors to be in pinch, I think I'm going to call it a game breaker, because the display does not really represent colors 100% accurate. My model, or I guess all of those Surface Book 2, come with 2 USB-A, the regular big USB, and 1 USB-C. Also it has SD card, which is great. If you shoot something on the camera and you want to import it really quick on this computer, you pop the card in, transfer it, and it's good to go. You can charge this computer through normal magnetic charger or USB-C, both works. However, and apparently there's a lot of people complain about it, and I start noticing and start getting the very same thing. The magnetic charger that comes with the Surface Book sometimes does not charge your laptop. You plug it in, it says it's plugged in, but it's not charging. My fix with that, I took a little bit alcohol wipe and I cleaned it, even though it was completely clean, put it back on, and it started charging. I don't know if Microsoft screwed up somewhere or whatnot, but I'm actually thinking to take I still have a warranty. I'm thinking to go to the Microsoft store and sort of ask them question like, why is it happening, what's going on. Not a big deal. At the same time, kind of makes me worried, because this thing is 1,500 bucks, and you know, I don't use it that much to be having any kind of problems with it. I still use this, you know, relatively a lot, but not as much for me to be having any kind of hardware related issues. As far as the brightness, screen is not too bright. It's okay if you're working indoors. However, outdoors, the screen is not good to view your work. You're still going to be able to see, but if there's some kind of lighting over there, honestly, this is not the best choice. So even though, you know, you're supposed to use a little hood to kind of see what you're doing, but if you're kind of lone shark photographer and you just want to have it, you know, with you while you're shooting landscape or something, keep in mind, if you're using this computer during the daytime with the sun, even actually in overcast, you're probably going to have a lot of problems seeing on the screen what you're shooting. Now, another thing, what I general think about this whole computer. It's good. I say it's more like a luxury item rather than realistically be a good computer for actual work. My basic model worked pretty fast. Like I said, I bought it strictly to kind of view my work and do just basic quick adjustments. I specifically didn't buy it more expensive ones because I personally, when I do any kind of retouching work or any kind of more serious like paid work, I want to be completely on the pinch what I'm seeing, and for that I have my very powerful desktop computer with, you know, very expensive professional monitors, everything calibrated. I'm seeing like 100% of everything. It's a little disappointing that Microsoft really kind of didn't calibrate, I guess, the screen correctly out the box, or there's technically really no real way of doing any kind of adjustment. Another thing I want to really cover, I guess, on this, when you take this thing out, right, and like in a commercial, when you flip it the other way around, you put it back just like in a commercial, you go like this, and you're supposed to do let's say, retouching. Well, interesting thing about this, that, and by the way, it rotates automatically. Interesting thing about this concept, that there is no keyboard. So I would love if there would be some kind of keyboard, and I know Microsoft has third-party program that you can buy. It's like an on-screen keyboard. But when you buy this product, you kind of expect to have a full-blown functionality out the box without buying third-party stuff. So as of right now, like if I'm working in Photoshop and I want to, you know, push Command or Control and do some kind of adjustment, technically I can't because there is no keyboard. And even though if I'm going to bring this keyboard up on the screen, pushing the, you know, the letter or the button and doing the strokes doesn't really work. So to me, this defeats really the whole concept of having this computer for professional work, you know, as it being advertised, and not having some kind of, you know, on-screen buttons like, you know, Alt or Control, whatever. That way you can kind of push and hold and do your thing. So this to me is the biggest letdown. So if you're a photographer, if you're a retoucher, and I do all my retouching myself, this is a big deal breaker. And even though you can still, you know, go in the menus and do everything manually, if you got used to a certain workflow and you work fast and you know what you're doing, there's those crazy shortcuts out there, not being able to do on the keyboard, I think it sort of defeats the purpose of having this computer. Also, if you're going to choose, let's say you want to overcome this issue and you want to do retouching like normal, let's say here's your computer, right? Let's say you retouch something. You always going to have to hold the computer, because if you push it like that, the computer moving around, if you have a slippery table, and if table is not slippery, your display constantly going to be going back. As far as how strong it is, like you can see, let's say 90-degree angle from you guys. Okay, at 90-degree angle, you touch it a little bit, and it wobbles. Even though it stays, you know, it's not crazy wobbly or anything, but doing some kind of retouching, you can see what you're dealing with. So when you're going to be retouching like this, you're always going to have to hold it and then do it like that. So a little bit frustrating. You know, I didn't return my computer, even though when I bought it, I started seeing all those shortcomings right away. And I know there's plenty of reviews online say, hey, how great this computer is, how awesome it is. And to be honest, this is amazing computer. This is very well made piece of hardware. The keyboard is fantastic. Performance is great. You know, I cannot complain. It has a camera. It has like 2 cameras actually. But again, if you're an artist, let's say if you're some kind of engineer and you're buying specifically to kind of have this on-the-go workflow, to use a pen, to use other stuff, to retouch your pictures, I don't think this computer actually deserves it. So Microsoft, if you're watching this video, please fix this kind of stuff or add on-screen keyboard. That way we don't have to buy separately from your store, because you know you're paying $1,500 and you cannot retouch as you're advertising. I think it's a little bit of sham. Latency on the pen is not a big deal. You can still overcome this. However, if you drawing, if your main thing to be like a 3D artist or whatever, and you're going to be exclusively drawing, not even retouching pictures, exclusively drawing on this computer, because of that high latency, you're probably going to have a lot of problems doing it. So far, out of all the sort of tablets that I've used, Wacom 5, Intuos, whatever, is the best tablet. That's what I use, and I mean it's spot on. There's no latency or anything like that. So I guess as far as the review, that's it. That's all I have to say. By itself, computer is not too heavy. It's pretty good. You know, like I said, the build quality is fantastic. But those little things, which, you know, if you're buying again for photo retouching, they're not little anymore. They're actually a pretty big deal. Kind of let go or let down of this concept. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you like this video. I'll be making more of these kind of reviews sometime soon, and I'll see you next time.